They're gonna be giving them away tomorrow. That keychains, I don't. She's named. I was.
Hey, thank you, Mayor. I will call the City of Benton Parks Committee to order. We'll start by recognizing attendance, and we'll start on my far right with Mr. Baptist.
Right, Baptist.
Steve Brown. Evelyn Reed.
Tom Farmer.
Rodemeyer.
Trevor Blind. Jeff Ham. All right. Thank all of y'all for coming. We do have a quorum on that. You've had a chance to look at the minutes. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes if there are no changes. Second. All in favor of accepting the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, the first item on the agenda is a Great Strides Trail for Life grant application. I believe that's going to be around Sunset Lake, if I'm not right, for the lights. Is that correct, Junior? Add anything else that needs to be said regarding that?
This is a $250,000 grant. There is no match required, and if awarded, the funding is provided up front. You're given 1 year to do the project. We're looking to try to complete the lights around Sunset Lake, so there'd be no engineering involved in it. This would strictly just be with an electrical vendor that we would do this through.
Question. Do you know if there's any plans to address some of the roads around Sunset Lake? I know I went down there a while back trying to get material to move from a very large pothole right next to the lake. We have plans to.
Actually, RDOT, it's their responsibility. They tore it up on when they were doing all the construction down there. So they're working with John to get everything fixed. I was down there the other day and all the holes were filled. And then we're looking at a paving program after that. The state did.
Junior, one last thing I have on the lights. Will the lights be LED, and if so, will they be, can you, like for October, making breast cancer awareness color? Spots that just the plain lights, or has there been any talk of that?
There have been talks of doing LED lights, not any talk of colored lights. We're working on getting a quote right now to see if we're going to be with under the $250,000. We can always look at that once we get that initial quote and see where we're going to fall at.
All right. Any other questions regarding the application? Seeing none, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the, or go forward with the application. So moved. Second. All in favor of accepting the motion, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, the next item on the agenda is the Saline River Greenway Phase 1 resolution. And Junior, would you go ahead and let everybody, I know it's an 80-20 match, but let them know exactly where this is and what we'll be doing.
So this has already been approved through the council. This is just some resolution cleanup. The wording needed to be very specific for the TAP grant, so we're bringing this back to get the resolution. We've been working on phase 1 and phase 2 together. Here in a minute, when we talk about our grants overview, we'll give a little bit more information about where those are at and kind of the projected timelines for them.
All right. Any questions regarding the federal grant opportunity? Seeing none, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the resolution. So moved. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of accepting the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for that. The next item on the agenda is a Parks project overview. You can turn to your last page in the handout, and I'll let Junior go over each of the things on the list, and then some more maybe possible.
So we just wanted to bring this to you just so you can kind of see where we're at with everything. Currently, we have 6 grants that are out, 7 with including the Great Strides that we're currently approving. The left side column is the amount awarded for the project. The right column is the city's projected match, and then our timelines for each of those projects. Right now, we've submitted 60% designs for Saline Greenway Phase 1. We're at also 60% for Greenway Phase 2. The Ralph Bunch Connector Trails at 90%, and Saline River Natural Surface Trails are at 60% right now. So you can see what our projected design complete sets are for this summer. Once those are completed, we can potentially start going out to bid for some of these and get these underway.
Junior, on the Cherry DeMuth grant, is that a 1-for-1? They do $774, we have to match it dollar for dollar?
Yes, that's correct. And that one is, we just had the meeting this morning with them. Right now, we need to finish our design plan and our, what is it? Our updated budget plan for that. We need to get those submitted. Once those are submitted, then we can work towards an actual signing of a contract and begin working with permitting processes.
That June 2026, that's the completion on the design, or is that?
No, so the grant submitted was for 2 years to complete the project. When we spoke with them today, they are encouraging everybody to try to get it done within a year. So that's the date, the June 1st date for 2026 that they're asking us to try to meet if possible.
One thing I do want to remind this committee is that before we can do anything, we got to get a permit for here. We have not submitted that permit yet. We submitted one for RV and soccer fields, and you know how long it took Buc-ee's to get their permit. So I just want to remind you of that.
So help me understand, Mr. Mayor, what the Corps of Engineer permitting process, is that because it's on or near a waterway?
No, it's because it's in a flood.
It's in a flood, okay.
That's the reason. If it's a navigable river or navigable waterway, the Corps engineer has to give it. So we have people that will do all the studies and everything in place. They haven't done any for this piece of property yet. So that took about 2 months. So when you add that time frame in there and considering, they're already considering one for the RV park and the soccer fields across the way, and they're decreasing in staff rapidly. I just want y'all to be aware that it's going to be a time factor here.
And the mayor asked us, once we got awarded this, to go ahead and start that process. We reached out to the outdoor rec department, and they told us, no, we don't need to start that process yet until we had the meeting today. So we went over those things, and they did give us the okay to go ahead and start those conversations with McClellan and the Corps, but we still can't formally submit until we have a contract in place.
June date.
And the neighborhood playground, where's that located? Be completed by May?
The Hurricane Lake Playground, they are actually doing the pour in place tomorrow, and we'll be finishing up sodding and seeding and potentially be done within about 2 weeks. That was our estimated timeline. And luckily, the playground equipment got here a little bit sooner than they anticipated.
Mr. Morrow's back there off Severance Lane. You know where Severance Lane is?
Yeah, I know a yard over there. What's the Great Strides trails like? That's what we just approved.
All right. Any other questions? You can see, again, parks continue to expand and add services and still maintain the quality that they've always had. And again, you look at their calendar, they're not slowing down, that's for sure. They continue to do more things and have more opportunities for the community to be involved in their calendar. So Thank you all for what y'all do, appreciate that. Any other questions regarding any, future grants?
We'd like to, ask this committee if you get a chance to go down to Sunset Lake. I was down there for the, Parks and Police Fishing Tournament Saturday in the soccer fields that y'all approved. The 3 soccer fields over where the potential pickleball courts are gonna be. You can tell they're soccer fields, they were putting in a sprinkler system, and the next thing they'll be doing is putting inside, so it'll be up and running by August. So they've done a real good job down there. It looks nice. Get a chance to look at it next time you're there.
And I know they redid the bridge, it's sturdy, I ran across it the other day, and so I know, again, a lot of people are using that bridge that y'all had to redo and do there down there as well. All right, any other items that need to be brought before this committee?
I was just gonna ask one last question on the dog parks. We have 2 in the city, is that correct?
Well, they're right next to each other, it's kind of one large one divided into.
So we have
I
2,
understand.
we have 2 at Sunset Lake area, and we don't have any at Tyndall.
No, we don't.
Are there any plans for future dog parks? I know those are really popular. Dog, what do they call them? Dog, it's dog.
This is dog parks, what it's
Yeah.
called, but at this point, we do.
I've been asking, a lot of people have asked me that question, and I just know that it's a popular thing.
And I guess since we're talking about dog parks too, I did have one, patron talk to me about our current dog park, just to, pass it on. And if there's any, they said there wasn't a lot of grass in it, but I'm like, well, dogs run. But, they said they'd like to see that just because of, their dogs, their little ones especially. And they said if we could get more things for their dogs to run through or whatever, it'd be great. So I'm just passing that on and, let you know. Anything else before the Parks Committee? Anything from the, citizens? Seeing none, I'll call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Community service meeting to order. We do have a quorum, but we're going to recognize our attendees starting on the far left. Jeff Am,
Alliance,
Judd Hart.
Jeff Morrow,
Don Farm.
Evelyn Reed.
Steve Brown, Frank Baptist.
Okay, we do have a quorum. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the March 11th minutes. There
So
are no
moved.
corrections. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Minutes stand approved. Item 4, new business, proposed ordinance annexing certain real properties located at 7120 Alcoa Road and 1049 Eleanor Road. Are you taking it? Entertain a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go forth with the ordinance annexing property located at 7120 Alcoa Road and 1049 Eleanor. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, under condemnations and liens, number 2309 West Lakeview, we're removing that from the agenda. It was paid today. So we have, 1908 West Lakeview and 4121, Brandy Drive.
Both of these were simply a case of renters moving out and leaving debris on the street. Both cases, we gave proper notice and then went in and had the debris removed. Something that we're finding that we're having to do more and more these days. So, but we've got a good team set up, a good group of contractors set up to where we're getting competitive prices and getting good response. So we feel good about that. And then the 2309, it was a trash debris, but we got a $1,200 check today to cover our costs on that, so we were pleased with that. The next item is a condemnation. It's 18623 Interstate 30, and if you'll look at the photos there, that house is literally falling in. It's right on the interstate, so it's highly visible. It's the corner of the frontage road, the northbound frontage road towards Little Rock, and Thomas Road, right there on that corner. The owner of the property has come in and obtained a demolition permit to tear that house down. Of course, it will be almost 6 weeks before council meets again to approve it. I'm hoping it will be able to be pulled from the agenda at that time, but in case it's not, just like we normally do, it's on there.
Mr. Bruce, I have a question on that one. What about that privacy fence that's up right in front of it? Is that gonna be removed also?
We haven't discussed that. The privacy fence isn't in that bad a shape.
No, it's just falling in or out.
Yeah. Our ordinance, our nuisance ordinance states that fences have to be maintained in good repair. So that'll either be repaired or it will come down. Any other questions or comments?
Okay, Chair would entertain a motion to go forth with the resolution for 1908 West Lakeview, 4121 Brandy, and the condemnation at 18623 I-30 South.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6 is pole attachment agreement.
last 30 days, we've gotten a new roof put on the house at Primrose. Both the house and the detached garage now have new roofs. There's been work done on the exterior of the house as far as plugging holes, seams, and penetrations in the exterior, and there's ongoing work, significant ongoing work on the interior of the house. And I know that not by having entered the house, but by seeing the type and the amount of debris that's been coming out of the dumpsters. We go over there at least twice a week. So I feel like, I think the property has reached the point of no return as far as the investment versus shut things down.
Yes, I have just one question on this. Again, I appreciate what you're saying. I just hope the owners realize this and don't stop.
Well, the owners are here, they're represented.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Well, and at this point, we are so close from code compliance and community development perspective of having the property not be in a condition of condemnation, that, you know, I would think very strongly with it, that within the next month, we'll be coming back here and saying we recommend.
Mr. Bruce, I've asked repeatedly if this committee could see pictures of the interior. Is that possible through the homeowner?
I received some yesterday. I've got them on my desk. I can bring them in when we adjourn and show you. There's 4 pictures.
Okay.
But there's been significant work done on the inside. The flooring has been redone. Some walls have been redone. Like I said, significant work that I viewed both from the pictures and from the open door when I went to the door. But yeah, I'd be glad to. We received some yesterday.
Now, the ordinance states it just has to be habitable. Right? Is that what the ordinance says? I'm trying to understand our interest inside a person's home.
Technically, very little, our interest, because habitable in this day and age is a very broad
Right.
definition. So,
So we look at things like mold and termites.
right, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that, to me, the mold and termites leads to the further degradation of the property, which is what we're trying to avoid. Whether you would or I would want to move into it and live there is really not big of an issue. It's the degradation and the impact on other properties around it.
It's, one final question. Where are we at a timeline for the last thing that I believe would probably make it happen? And that's the air conditioning. For the state of Arkansas, you know the heat.
Air conditioning has not been replaced. I mean, you could probably have that done, but I don't require people to have air conditioning. I mean, I lived, you know, I know it's tough to not have air conditioning, but that's not one of the criteria that we use when we're evaluating the property, whether it's habitable or not.
Anybody that doesn't have it, I know that they would be uncomfortable if they didn't have it.
I know several people that don't have it, that live summer and winter without central heat and air, and without air conditioning. Yes, sir, I do. And if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Well, it's not ideal, but in this day and age, with the, you know, the situation that we're in, you do what you got to do.
My thought is maybe we should revisit this particular issue at another time, make that a part of it.
My view on that, and having been in the business for 20 years, is that the lack of air conditioning, the primary issue is mold. And if we've had that checked and came back as not a problem, then the air conditioning is a matter of comfort.
Make it it sellable if that time ever came.
Well, but that's not, when we look at condemning a property, it's,
I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
go any further, I just,
Okay.
glad you know my business.
but I'll get you those pictures. when we adjourn here. Anybody, any other questions? You have any questions for Ms. Hughes or? Yes, sir.
I just feel with heat there.
I agree. I think it's none of our
He
business
is
whether
fine,
people have
but-
heat or air in their house.
We,
We can't fix
here's what happened during the pandemic. We, at one point, viewed having utilities, especially running water, as being essential for habitability. And then during the pandemic and the economic fallout that resulted in that, we dropped that requirement as well. Now, is there unsafe conditions that are living in the existing in the house? That was not the issue. The issue was, were we going to force people out on the street because they couldn't afford basic utilities? And the answer at that point was no, we weren't. We monitor, make sure they're not discharging things into the creeks, into the surroundings. We monitor that the interior of the house is not, a cesspool that's affecting adjacent properties, but we felt like we needed to kind of scale back on our requirements because there were just so many people out there that.
Bruce, a broader question, and you're hitting all around it, but it's kind of a broader question. Based on where the world is at today, is it time to do another round of review for what you guys use as your guidelines for evaluation? And I'm not arguing for or against. I'm just based on a lot of the stuff that you said, it kind of sounds like maybe it's time to do that again.
Well, I would almost suggest that it might be, except there's a housing crisis going on. And the city of Benton and Saline County has a severe shortage of affordable housing. That's just the bottom line. I see people all the time that can't afford to buy groceries because they've got to pay for a roof over their head. So I would say I don't think we're there yet. Honestly, just don't think we're there yet. Now, are they living on the streets? Are they living in a camper? Are they living in a tent? Absolutely not. We do not allow that. But as far as a structure that's sound, as far as the bones and sort of thing, if they're able to get in out of the cold and out of the wet and the rain, at this point, that's kind of where we're going.
Do we allow gardens, like not a flower garden, but like row crop gardens? I don't think there's an ordinance or any.
Now, yeah, we totally allow gardens, front yard, backyard, side yard,
What about the
raised
front-
bed,
What
in
about
ground.
the front yard? The house I'm speaking of is on Conway Street.
Yeah, I know it well, yeah.
So they got a row of.
They got a raised bed garden in the front yard, grow great tomatoes according to the neighbors.
There's one right down, about 3 houses down on the left, right
Yeah,
here.
there's one in Lakeview that grows, rows of corn in the front yard. Sun's better.
Yeah.
No, we don't limit.
But, speaking about where the world is going, Alderman Brown, is that, I know, when this came up in my ward, it was, actually, that's a thing now, especially in urban areas, it is, they're called micro, crops or something like that, because of the affordability of groceries.
Well, and it's a mental health thing as well.
Yeah.
Question, Bruce, was more from the perspective of, do you feel like you guys are armed adequately to make sound and defensible decisions with the code as it stands today? That was where I was going.
Yes, sir, I think we
Okay.
are. And in fact, the initial we're not gonna evict anyone that has a roof over their head regardless. It came from, prosecuting attorney's office. So that's where we realized that times were changing and we needed to adapt to a new situation. That was probably 4 years ago.
I just got one or two last comments. First, I'd like to thank the homeowners for what they've done. I appreciate that and keep going. Thank you. I know I've sometimes been a little bit of a harsh critic, but I do appreciate the fact of what y'all have done up to this point. And then secondly, if we're gonna talk ever about looking at all of these factors that we're talking about, I would also add, parking in the front yard on unused vehicles and tarping them and not in a concrete pad or some kind of gravel area. Again, removing those so that they're not front yards don't become a junk pile would be something else I would just add to the conversation.
Bruce.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any comments from the public? From the,
I want to invite everyone next Tuesday, 5 o'clock, Ralph Bunch Community. We'll hold a public meeting. I know the council approved to name the Second Street Bridge, and when was asked the question, is anyone opposing it? At that time, there was no knowledge of anyone opposing it. Now there's some people that have second thoughts, I guess is the best way to put it. So we'll go to the Ralph Bunch community. I want to invite each and every one of you. The press has been notified so that we can have 2 or more of you there present. So that's next Tuesday, 5 o'clock at the community center in the Ralph Bunch area. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., the Buc-ee's groundbreaking will occur, whether you've reserved a spot or not. Open to the public. We want to invite all the public to come. They have went to a lot of expense just for the groundbreaking. They've put the largest tent up they've ever had. They've had more RSVPs than they've ever had. They went in and gravelled the entire lot, took the steamroller, forced it in. It's like walking on pavement right now down there. And they painted 400 yellow parking spots. So, even whether you've reserved or not, come on and enjoy the situation. The governor's speaking, and the owner of Buc-ee's will be there to speak also. And once in a lifetime event, and you guys and girls have been a big part of it, so I want to invite everyone to be there.
is there anything else to come before this committee? If not, thank you all for coming. We are adjourned.
Turn your mics off. Turn your mics off.